I get a Gucci in the chat box? Yes. Can everybody give me a Gucci in the chat box? Shall we start? Yes. Gucci. A levels कब शुरू हो रहा है? Probably July या August या September. मैंने तो सर अब्बास को कहा है सर सितंबर को शुरू करते हैं क्योंकि ज़्यादातर बच्चों को पता भी लग जाएगा कि बाकी टीचर्स कैसे हैं. तो इफ़ दे टीचर्स आर गुड इनफ तो फिर मेरे सेशन ज्वाइन करने की ज़रूरत नहीं है, बट बहुत सारे बच्चों को अंदाज़ा हो जाएगा. इसलिए प्रॉब्ली अगस्त, मिड अगस्त, जून, लेकिन जुलाई, सॉरी मिड अगस्त और सितंबर. लेकिन सर अब्बास कह रहे हैं नहीं सर प्लीज़ शुरू करें उसमें जुलाई में. तो लेट्स सी, देखते हैं क्या बनता है यार. टाइम जुलाई में मेरे बहुत सारे क्लाइंट्स होते हैं, लिस्टेड क्लाइंट्स होते हैं, उनको देखना पड़ता है. तो लेट्स सी. चलो जी, बिकॉज आई वांट टू टीच अ फुल फ्लेज कोर्स. बस एक दफ़ा कोर्स पढ़ाऊँगा. चलो सर लेट मी नो व्हेन ए लेवल स्टार्ट. हाँ मिस नूर सबको मैसेज करिए, टेंशन ना ले. चलो लेट्स राइट माय नेम. ऑब्वियसली माय नेम इज सुलेमान खान. Ashes say Suleiman Khan, and let's just demolish this paper. Yeah, let's demolish it. Chalo ji, let's start. So question number uno says this is the 062042 February March 2025 paper, 1 hour 15 minutes. Let's see what they have in store for us. Chalo. Okay, using numbers only, state using numbers only. Okay, don't write anything else, just use numbers, right? So state the percentage of oxygen in dry air. What's the percentage of oxygen in dry air? You know, in dry air you have 21% oxygen, 78% nitrogen, and 1% of carbon dioxide and other noble gases. But realize that out of this 1%, 0.9% is almost argon. So realize that argon, amongst the noble gases that you have in dry air, argon has the highest percentage, right? So that's the percentage of nitrogen, that's the percentage of oxygen. But realize that should I write 21% or should I write 21? Although the examiner is not that strict, it's not meticulation that even if you write 21%, he'll give you the mark. But he says using numbers only, so I just write 21 Reno, yeah? And my question to you guys is, what other component would I have? What other component would I have in air? What other component would I have in air? Instead of saying dry air, now I'm just saying air. I've said that you have noble gases and whatnot. I've said that, all of this. But what if I say, yes, you are right, water vapor. I've said that you have carbon dioxide. Out of this 1%, you have carbon dioxide, argon, and whatnot. So you'll also have water vapor. Remember, dry air, no water vapor. Just air, yeah, water vapor as well. Moisture, yeah. Now it says, typical operating temperature in degrees Celsius used in Haber process or Haber process, depending on whether you're from Germany or whether you're from British. Yeah, Haber in English and in German it's Haber. So Haber process temperature, typical operating temperature is 450 degrees Celsius. I'm not going to write degrees Celsius. He's already specified it. And he's saying using numbers only. And why has he specified in degrees Celsius? Because some of the students might think, oh sir, 273 Kelvin is 0 degrees Celsius. So I'll just add, 450 to this. And that's just stupidity. Yeah. So that's why he's saying write it in degrees Celsius. Number of atoms in a diatomic molecule. Diatomic literally means what? 2. So how many atoms should it have? 2 atoms. Diatomic molecule is when 2 atoms are covalently bonded. So I'll write 2 right here. Maximum number of electrons in the second shell of an atom. The first shell can hold up to a maximum of 2. The second can hold up to a maximum of 8 electrons. So I'll write 8 Reno. Number of hydrogen atoms in an alkane with 7 carbons. Alkane, it ends with an ane, saturated hydrocarbons. What is the general formula for it? CnH2n plus 2. Jitne carbons honge, which are 7. Hydrogens will be twice the number of that, which is 14 plus 2. So how many hydrogens would you have? You would have 16 hydrogen atoms right here. 16. Yeah? 16. And then number of particles in 1 mole, and write it in standard form. So what's the number? We've always written it in standard form. What's that? It's 6.02 into 10 raised to the power 23. That's my standard form. We know. Khatam. Finished. मुफ्त के 6 मार्क्स है यार 2025 का इतना आसान पेपर. So realize your paper is going to be very easy. It's going to be very short. It's going to be very short and very easy. 23 है 23 2 नहीं लिखा 3 है ये क्या हो गया? Okay, this question is about ionic compounds. State what is meant by ionic bond. What is an ionic bond? It's strong electrostatic force of attraction between oppositely charged ions. That's it. That's strong electrostatic force of attraction between oppositely charged ions. That's ionic bonding. There's no mutual sharing of electrons. Kya ho gaya? That's covalent bonding. And you don't even define covalent bonding like that. So what's the term ionic bond? It's just, strong electrostatic forces of attraction between oppositely charged ions, positive and negatives. Yeah, that's it. What about ionic lattice? Ionic lattice is the structure. This is bonding. He's asking you about bonding. Ionic lattice just means structure. Yeah, Shamin. Lattice just means a regular arrangement. It's a regular arrangement of alternating positive and negative ions. Positive, negative, right? And how does an ionic bond form? Okay. For example, I'm talking about sodium chloride, which is an ionic compound. So there's a transfer of electron from metal to non-metal, forming oppositely charged ions, which are held together by strong electrostatic forces of attraction. And that's what ionic bond is. It's basically what? It's strong electrostatic force of attraction between oppositely charged ions. Sir, are there always electrostatic? Oh, yo. In chemistry, you only talk about electrostatic force of attraction. Even a covalent bond is an electrostatic force of attraction. Even van der Waals are electrostatic force of attraction. You'll learn more about that in A levels. But in chemistry, you have electrostatic, all the forces that you study in chemistry, because you're studying, talk about an atom, it's all electrostatic force of attraction. Yeah, even ions. Potassium sulfide is an ionic compound. No, if you wrote intermolecular force, it's wrong. Because it does not have intermolecular force. In ionic compounds, you have strong electrostatic forces of attraction between oppositely charged ions. Intermolecular forces, they exist between molecules. This is not a molecule. There are ions here, please. Acha ji. Now it's saying potassium sulfide is an ionic compound. Complete the dot and cross diagram for potassium. Oh, yeah, that's pretty easy. You know K2S. What is K2S? You know potassium is in group 1 and sulfur that's in group 6, right? If you don't know that, go to your periodic table. You realize that potassium is in group 1 and sulfur is in group 6. Now, you realize one thing, that if I have a potassium, you know, it's in group 1. Since it's in group 1, how many electrons will it lose? How many electrons would it lose? It can only lose one electron because it's in group 1, so it will lose that electron to become stable, to have a stable electronic configuration. And sulfur, that's in group 6. So how many electrons does it need to become stable? How many electrons does it need to become stable? 2. So it will gain 2 electrons. Now, how is this possible? How in the world is this possible that potassium is losing 1, but sulfur is only gaining 2? It's losing 1, only 1, and this is gaining 2. It's not magic. You realize that for one sulfide ion, for one S, you actually in fact need 2 potassium ions. So it's not कि एक potassium ion जा रहा है और वो एक electron दे रहा है. No. If potassium ion is losing 1 electron, if potassium is losing 1 electron and making the potassium ion, sulfur should only gain 1 electron, but it's gaining 2. You realize, okay, it's gaining 2 because there are 2 potassium ions. And that's why the formula for it is as, what's the formula for it? For the formula in itself is also K2S. What does this K2S means? It means that for 2 potassium ions, you need 1 sulfur, right here. So for 2 potassiums, you need 1 sulfur. 2 potassium ions, 1 sulfide ion, right? And that's why आप जो रट्टा लगाते हैं बच्चे के K के ऊपर प्लस आ गया, S के ऊपर 2 minus cross multiply K2S. This is just a technique. This is just rote learning. It's just a technique. The reality behind things is this, which is your bonding, right? So potassium should have a 1 plus charge. Potassium right here should also have a 1 plus charge, right? Potassium के ऊपर 1 plus ही होगा. And sulfur, it made the sulfide ion. Now it has a 2 minus charge. And the only thing that you need to do is complete the dot and cross diagram. Now you know that potassium has 19 protons and 19 electrons. And sulfur का कोई बता दे please. Sulfur कितना है? 16 if I am not wrong. 16 hai, please, 16 hai. Acha. Now potassium has, for a neutral atom of potassium, it will have 19 protons and 19 electrons, but it's not potassium anymore, it's K plus, it's the potassium ion. And this plus indicates that it has 1 fewer electron than protons. 1 fewer electron than protons. So how many electrons would K plus have? It would have 18 electrons. Now he's represented the electrons of K with dots. So you have 2 electrons in the first shell, 8 in the second shell, and then complete the third shell. How many electrons would you have in the third shell? Sorry for that pathetic circle. Oh my god, that's just pathetic. Sorry, my bad. I'm gonna try to make it. Okay, that's good. So it's gonna be what? What's the electronic configuration gonna be? पहले में 2, दूसरे में 8, that's 10, और तीसरे में 8. So 2, 4, 6, 8. And that's what I'll do here as well, you know. And that's 2, 4, 6, 8. Done. And then sulfur right here, sulfur would have how many? Now sulfur is in group 6, so it already has 6 electrons. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, you know. It's represented the electrons of sulfur with crosses. So it already has 6 electrons right here. Now potassium gave it 1 electron right here, and the other potassium gave it 1 electron. That's why it has a 2 minus charge. Because I represented the electrons of potassium with dots, I'll put a beautiful dot here, and I'll put a beautiful dot here. That's it. So sulfur is also happy, and potassium is also happy, and that's that. Khatam. Khatam, khatam, khatam. Any questions? आगे बढ़ूं? खलास, आसान. Okay, can the mic be a little closer? For sure, it can be. Positioning does not matter. Positioning does not really matter. You could have, for your level, what you could have done is you could have drawn the 2 dots together and the 6 crosses together would not make any difference whatsoever. Yeah. Okay. Ionic compounds are giant ionic lattices. What does a lattice mean? A lattice means a regular structure or a regular arrangement. That's it. That's what a lattice is. And why am I calling it a regular arrangement or a regular structure? It's because I can see a pattern. It's because I can see a pattern. चार्जेस में साइंस को नंबर से पहले लिखे बाद में लिखे फ़र्क पड़ता है. प्रार्थना में बहुत दफ़ा पढ़ा दिया, बिल्कुल फ़र्क पड़ता है, लेकिन आपका मार्क नहीं कटेगा, बस पड़ता है फ़र्क, बाद में लिखा करें. एक्चुअल चार्ज ऑन द आयन शुड बी रिटन आफ्टर द नंबर, और ऑक्सीडेशन नंबर्स में पहले साइन लिखते हैं फिर नंबर लिखते हैं. जस्ट अ रूल ऑफ थंब. Acha. So C1 says figure 2.1 shows the giant ionic lattice structure of sodium chloride. Okay. Now it's saying to show the ions present, use a plus for sodium ions and a minus for chloride ions. One chloride ion has been completed for you, and it's pretty easy. You know that, unlike charges from your physics, you know that unlike charges attract, right? So how am I going to add the pluses and the minuses? I've already started off with a minus. So minus should be bonded to what? Attracted to what? To a plus or a minus? You just realize you just have to alternate the charges. So if this is a minus, minus should be attracted to a plus. This minus should be attracted to what? A plus. This minus should be attracted to what? A plus. That's it. And then wherever you have the plus should be attracted to a minus. This plus right here is attracted to minus, and minus right here. That's it. You just have to, it's just like a puzzle. Yeah. This plus attracted to minus, this plus attracted to what? A minus. That's it. And the minuses are attracted to the plus. That's it. Why is this paper so easy? बस ना मरियम, बड़ी ख्वारी आप लोगों के साथ कर ली मैंने. अभी भी आसान ना लगे तो मैं किस दीवार पे सर मारूं. Okay. State the name given to any positive ion. Oh, मुफ्त के marks. That's called a cation. That's, a cation. Again, ionic compounds can be decomposed by the passage of electric current using inert electrodes. What are my inert electrodes? In my course, that's graphite or platinum. That's our inert electrodes. Why am I calling them inert? Because they don't take part in the reaction. State the name of this process, the decomposition. Yeah. And remember, ionic compounds, can they be decomposed in solid state? It's called electrolysis. Yes, you're all right. But can they be decomposed in solid state? No. Why? Why can't they be decomposed in solid state? Because they have no mobile ions in solid state. Yeah, they can't be used as an electrolyte. They have to be decomposed in molten state or an aqueous state. Yes, sir. Okay, write the ionic half equation for the reaction which takes place at the anode. The anode is the positive electrode, right? Panic. Positive is anode, negative is cathode. When molten potassium bromide is decomposed by the passage of, molten means you only have the potassium ion and the bromide ion, nothing else. You don't have hydrogen ions, you don't have, hydroxide ions. Sir, why does aluminum react if they are inert? Aluminum reacts because of the high temperature. They are, you know that they are carbon electrodes, and because aluminum oxide is molten, you've provided the electrolysis chamber with a very high temperature. Although this is not a part of your course, Ibrahim, but since you're asking, इसलिए मैं तेज बोल रहा हूँ, अगर समझ आ गई तो ठीक है. Aluminum oxide, because it's in molten state, it has a very, very high temperature that you've provided it with. So graphite electrode जो है, it's basically carbon, and when oxygen forms, and that carbon is already there, because of the high temperature, the oxygen and carbon reacts to form carbon dioxide. But that's, the why is not in your course. Khair, bata diya. Acha, molten potassium bromide. So you won't have any hydrogen ions or any hydroxide ions. So you have the potassium ion and you have the bromide ion. Now my question is, what will happen at the anode? The anode is the positive electrode right here. So the bromide ions are gonna discharge as the positive at the positive electrode. So you'll realize that two bromide ions go together. They're gonna give you Br2 by losing 2 electrons. And my question to you guys is, what's the observation? A red-brown vapor is observed. सर लिखा हुआ है डू नॉट राइट इन द मार्जिन. हाँ, तो मैं तो लिख सकता हूँ, मैं पेपर थोड़ी ना दे रहा हूँ. आप लोगों ने इस मार्जिन में लिखाई नहीं करनी ना, ये स्कैनिंग के लिए होता है. इट्स फॉर स्कैनिंग. आपके पेपर की तस्वीर इधर ये पिक्चर आता है आपके पेपर के, ये स्कैन होता है, ये आपका पिक्चर इधर. तो इससे नीचे अगर आप जाएंगे पेपर में वो स्कैन नहीं होगा, इधर तक लिखें तो कोई मसला नहीं है यार. अच्छा, so that's that. Now Name the products and state the observations at the negative and positive electrodes if dilute aqueous potassium bromide is decomposed by the. It's pretty easy. तो याद रखिएगा आपके पेपर में electrolysis definitely test होगा. So you have the hydrogen ions and you have the hydroxide ions. Bada simple, bada simple. Now between the potassium ion and the hydroxide ion, which one will win the race? You know, at the negative cathode and at the positive anode. Can you guys just quickly write it for me? Between the potassium ion and the hydrogen ion, obviously the hydrogen ion has a greater discharge tendency. So two hydrogen ions go together, they gain 2 electrons and they form H2 gas. And what's the observation? What's the observation? A colorless gas bubbles off. That's the observation. Colorless gas bubbles, bubbles, bubbles. Yeah, bubbling is the observation. And here, between the hydroxide ion and the bromide ion, remember it's dilute. Dilute में जिद्दों मर्जी हो, जो मर्जी हो, dilute में the hydroxide ion will win the race. In dilute, no matter what negative ion you have, the hydroxide will win the race. Even in concentrated, no matter what you have, the hydroxide ion will win the race, except if you have a halide ion, except if you have the halide ion. So the hydroxide ion obviously wins the race. 4 hydroxide ions go together. They give you what? They give you 2 H2Os plus O2 by losing 4 electrons in total, because each hydroxide ion loses 1 electron. So that's that, right? Achha ji. So what is the product at the negative electrode? Negative electrode is the cathode and hydrogen is the product, right? Hydrogen gas. So hydrogen likh lete hain sir. Observations at the negative electrode. What's the observation? Colorless gas bubbles off, bubbling, bubbling, bubbling. Yeah? Bubbling. Or you could even say, colorless gas bubbles off. Effervescence bhi keh sakte hain, jo marzi. Why 4 hydroxide ion? Rehab, this is not the time to ask why 4 hydroxide ions. Right? I've explained it in my live classes, but I don't think you've taken my live classes. Chodo, aakhir mein bata dunga. Ye why shy ke jawab ka time nahi. Your syllabus will not ask you why, but I've explained it in why. In the live classes. Khair. Products at the positive electrode. What's the product at the positive electrode? The anode. What's the product? It's water and oxygen. Normally we just write oxygen, but since he's given us, 2 spaces, I'll write oxygen and write water here. Yeah. So इस तरह रहम करके free classes लट दिया करें. चलो. Observations at the positive electrode. What's the observation? Again, bubbling, bubbling, bubbling. Oxygen, bubbles. Bubbling. Khatam. Now it says the halogens are a group. Why are they called halogens? वैसे group 7 को halogens क्यों कहते हैं? Why are they called halogens? Again, Greek word से निकला है. Halo means salt and gens means former. So they're basically salt formers. When they react with, मेरे सारे students, alhamdulillah, mashallah, yeah. So when they react with group 1s and group 2s, they make salts, right? Now it says chlorine is a member of this group. Yeah, it's a diatomic molecule. It is a pale yellow-green gas. It's not green. It's a pale yellow-green gas. You can also say it's pale yellow, but it's a pale yellow-green gas, right? Now it says state the group number of the halogens. What's the group number of the halogens? Come on, group 7. Pretty easy, right? So group 7 areno. You can even write 7. That's fine. But periodic table में it's written in Roman numerals, so I'll write it in Roman numerals, right? खैर 7 भी लिख सकते हैं, कोई मसला नहीं है. लिख लें यार, लिख लें 7. जो मर्जी. State how many halogens there are in this group. How many halogens do we have in this group? लेखें periodic table खोलें ना. आपको पता है ये क्यों आजकल ये टेस्ट कर रहा है? Why is he testing how many halogens are there in this group? Well, let me show you the periodic table. Do you know why he's testing it? Because you have 1 is fluorine, chlorine, bromine, that's 3, 4, 5, 6. So there's 6. Because the reason why he's testing this is, sir, why is this so easy? Because I've taught you guys. The reason why he's testing this nowadays is because he's added a new element right here, tennessine. He's added a new element here. Yes, Harim is saying because you told us. Yes, because you told us a new element is added. So he's added tennessine. Now students, what they do is they have just memorized it. Oh, 5 hote hain. No, they've added a new element, tennessine, and this will be given. This periodic table will be given in your paper. Chill. Sir, if my paper isn't this easy, I'm gonna sue. Okay, chalo chill. So how many halogens are there in this group? 6 areno. Suggest the identity of a halogens which has the highest density. Now you've all studied iodine, but realize that that down the group the density would increase, right? And how could you figure this out? Because that's a gas, it becomes liquid, this becomes solid, and then become even a blacker solid and blacker. So realize you go down the group, the trend is that the density is gonna increase. So which of these would have the highest density? The one that is the most lower in the group, right? The one that is below all the other elements in the group. So that's tennessine. That's why he's testing this nowadays, because many students just forget about tennessine. They literally forget that tennessine exists. So it's TS2, tennessine, because they're all diatomic. You could write TS2 or you could also write tennessine. Tennessine हम spelling में क्या देखता, बस TS2 लिख लिया. Khair. Is more reactive, is the most reactive. Now remember, I've taught you guys this. Although you should remember this by heart, that reactivity of group 7s decreases. You should remember this. So the one that's at the top, that will be more reactive. But I've also taught you that reactivity for non-metals is how quickly they can gain electrons. And the more you go at the bottom, the bigger the size gets. And the bigger the size gets, you realize that, grabbing electrons becomes harder and harder, because the distance from the nucleus and the outermost or the electrons that they want to catch increases, right? So that's why the reactivity of the one at the top is the highest, because it can quickly gain an electron compared to all the others, because the size is too huge to attract the electrons, right? There's a huge distance. The force of attraction becomes weaker. So which one is the most reactive? That's fluorine. F2 में लिख रहा हूँ, आप लोग spelling लिख लीजिएगा please. Achha, state the name of the negative ions. You could also write TS, you could also write F, doesn't make a difference. State the name of negative ions formed by halogens. What is the name? We've all studied that. That's called halide. So they're called halides. Halides. अब देखें जिन्होंने conceptually पढ़ा है, हलवा पेपर है. State how many occupied electron shells are there in a bromine atom. Hold up here. Now, usulan kya hona chahiye tha? The examiner shouldn't have asked you this question, right? But he can ask you this question. And the reason for that is, remember, if you start writing the electronic configuration of bromine atom, you'll get it wrong. And the reason why you'll get it wrong is because you've not been taught the idea of subshells and orbitals and whatnot. You learn that later on in A levels, right? Remember, if you start writing the electronic configuration, you can only write the electronic configuration of the first 20 elements of the periodic table. Uske ilawa, if he asks you, oh, how many electron shells are there in Flana, Timkana, and other than the first 20 atoms which you could predict by just writing the electronic configuration, you could find out the shells. Other than that, you just go and check the periodic table. So you go and you say, hey, the horizontal rows are the periodic that represents the shells, right? So that's row number uno, that's row number dos, that's row number tres. So third row, and bromine is right here in the fourth row. So fourth row means shell force, right? So it has 4 shells. Now, some of you might say, sir, but if I write the ionic, the electronic configuration of bromine, you said it's 2888888, you'll get it wrong, because in fact, it's not actually 288, it's after 28, it's 18, but it's not in your course, so we just forget about it. But bromine atomic number is 35, yeah. इसलिए पहले 20 के अलावा वो नहीं पूछेगा ना आपसे. So don't write, if ever you're asked about the shells, just go to the periodic table and check it out from there. Why didn't we just check the period number? That's what I said, Shamin. Just go to the periodic table and check it. Yeah? So don't write the electronic configuration of any element other than the first 20 elements to figure out the shells or the period or the group or whatnot. Just go to the periodic table and do it. Huh? Achha. Name the noble gas which has the same electronic configuration as the bromide ion. Now, see, this also can be easily predicted from, the periodic table, because, you realize that bromine has 35 electrons. Bromine atom has 35 electrons and 35 protons. But if it has a bromide ion, now 1 minus means it has 1 extra electron than proton. So it has 36 electrons. And check out which of these have 36 electrons. That's krypton right here. So krypton has 36 electrons right here. So I write krypton. And one more thing, you could also just look at the periodic table and say, hey, isme ek electron dal do, boom, you get krypton. Ek electron, boom, krypton, right? That's easy peasy, lemon squeezy. So name it, you name it. Don't write KR. Even if you write KR, he's going to accept it. But name it, so write krypton. Krypton. Metric का पेपर नहीं है, मैं बार बार कह रहा हूँ. KR भी लिख लो, लेकिन नाम लिखना पूछा है तो नाम लिखो. सर आप फेवरेट, आप कम्युनिटी ग्रुप में एनवायरमेंटल केमिस्ट्री की कोई वीडियो भेज दें प्लीज़. वो पोर्टल पे अपलोड है ना यार, अब उधर से देखता हूँ. चलो लेट्स सी इफ आई गेट द टाइम अपलोड करके भिजवा दूंगा. Aqueous chlorine reacts with aqueous potassium iodide. One of the products is iodine. Complete and balance the ionic equation. And what type of reaction is this? This is called a displacement reaction, right? And how does this displacement reaction take place. The more reactive halogen displaces the less reactive halogen from its salt solution. That's basically potassium iodide. But the reason why he's not writing the potassium ions, is because, why is he not adding the potassium ions? Because they're spectator ions, and this is an ionic equation. Ionic equations are equations without the spectator ions. It's because krypton has the same number of shells. That's why it was krypton. No, it's because it has the same number of electrons, not shells. उसने electronic configuration same कब होगी? जब number of electrons same होंगे. Number of Br1 minus has 36 electrons. So krypton, you check out the periodic, krypton atom also has 36 electrons. So yeah, spectator ions are ions which do not take part in the reaction. So he's not added potassium, and rightfully so, because he's just given you the ionic equation for it. And chlorine, Cl2, reacts with two iodide ions, because see, it's I2. I2 means there are two I's, so two iodide ions. And obviously what's going to happen? You know that once it displaces the iodine from its salt solution, it'll form Cl minus. So Cl2 is going to go into Cl minus, and how many Cl minus would you have? 2 Cl minus. And if you want, I could show you the full equation and then derive. It's just stupidity, but hey, I'll show it to you. It's Ki goes into what? Goes into like your KCl. This will displace this right here. It'll go into KCl plus I2 is gonna form, and that's why the observation is a brown. The solution turns brown. It goes from colorless. Potassium iodide is colorless, and that's brown. So that's the observation, because I2 aqueous is brown. In fact, now what's gonna happen is, you know that potassium iodide. It's an ionic compound. I'm gonna write it in the form of ions. Yeah, and KCl again is an ionic compound, and write it in the form of ions. And I2 aqueous right here. K plus cut jata hai, spectator ions hai, so Cl2 plus I minus gives me what? Cl1 minus plus I2. There are two iodide ions right here. That's why there are two I's here, so I need two I's here. There are two Cl's here, so I'll put a 2 right here, and that's beauty. Sir, iski recording ho jayegi, upload ho jayegi. Okay. Moving on, explain why the reaction is defined as the redox reaction. Now, see, you could write it in the form of oxidation numbers or electrons gains and losses. And remember, when you can clearly see the transfer of electrons, or the gain and losses of electrons, it's better to define it through electrons. And he's also given you the the hint. He's saying give your answer in terms of electron transfer. So don't tell me about oxidation number, don't tell me about anything else. Yes, you could do it roughly, Parisa. So don't tell me about anything, just tell me about electrons. How from electrons can you deduce there is a redox reaction? Well, I know, because chlorine, it gains electrons, becomes chloride, and iodine ions, they lose electrons, become I2. And obviously, that is why I could realize that it's a redox reaction, because chlorine gaining electrons is reduction, and iodide ions losing electrons is oxidation. So I'll say, hey, the reason why it's a redox reaction is because Cl2 molecules या Cl2 लिख ले, कोई मसला नहीं है, gain electrons to become Cl1 minus and become Cl1 minus, which is reduction, and I1 minus lose electrons and becomes I2, which is oxidation. Therefore, it's redox. Voila, खत्म. नहीं हसन, इसमें ऑक्सीडाइजिंग रिड्यूसिंग एजेंट क्यों किधर से आ गई यार? इलेक्ट्रॉन ट्रांसफर की बात करिए, रेडॉक्स रिएक्शन की बात हो रही है. अच्छा, आगे बढ़े. Give the color and state of iodine at room temperature and pressure. So what's the color of iodine? It's a gray-black solid. Please don't write blue. No, iodine is not a brown liquid. I2 aqueous is brown. I2 aqueous is brown. I2 gas is purple vapors. I2 solid is a gray-black solid. Yeah. So color क्या? यही सीधी mistakes मार डालेंगी. So color क्या? It's a gray, black. Solid, right? And state क्या है? Solid, obviously. सर अगर आंसर्स लाइन में कंप्लीट ना हो तो ज़्यादा करना चाहिए, कर ले कुछ नहीं होता. Carbonyl chloride, लिख लो बस कुछ लिख लो. Carbonyl chloride is manufactured by reacting. ओह सर carbonyl chloride क्या है, हमने तो देखा भी नहीं है. तो नहीं देखा कुछ नहीं होता, सवाल देखो, चिल करो, सवाल पढ़ो और चिल करो. Carbonyl chloride is manufactured by reacting carbon monoxide with chlorine, okay, and the enthalpy change is negative. What does that mean? That means that the forward reaction is exo and the backward should therefore obviously be endo. It says the process takes place in a closed system. Now, if it takes place in a closed system, you realize that equilibrium would be reached, right? Closed system में equilibrium reach हो सकता है because equilibrium के लिए पहली condition है it must be a closed system. Is this an organic reaction? This is a reaction. Yeah. Was that a good answer? This is a reaction. I don't care what reaction it is. I have to do with my answer. Yeah? Okay. And an equilibrium is reached. The condition for this process are 200 degrees Celsius and 200 kilopascals. Acha ji. Can they explain what is meant by a closed system? A closed system is what? A system where reactants and products can neither enter nor leave, right? That's a closed system. Reactants or products can neither enter nor leave, right? No external factors are involved, but it's better to say closed system. Band hai. Reactants and products can neither enter nor can they escape. So, a system where reactants or products can neither enter nor escape. Or you could just say where reactants and products cannot escape. Acha. आगे बढ़े. State what is meant by delta H. That's called what? The enthalpy change. That's the enthalpy change. Reversible reactions किन्जा खुद equilibrium पे चली जाती हैं. Reversible reactions in a closed system will go at will finally end equilibrium पे. चलो, they won't end but they'll reach equilibrium. End नहीं होता है, dynamic equilibrium हम पढ़ते हैं. तो the rate of forward reaction becomes equal to the rate of reverse reaction. अच्छा, state how the value of H shows that the forward reaction is exothermic. How does it show that the forward reaction is exothermic? Because delta H is negative. Delta H is negative. So enthalpy change is negative. Deduce the value of delta H for the reverse reaction. Include your answer. Okay, for the forward reaction, if it's negative 105, for the reverse reaction, what should it be? It should be positive 105. Yes, that's it. As kilojoule per mole. Yeah? It just becomes endo. It's positive. Include a sign in your answer. So positive 105 kilojoule per mole. इतना आसान पेपर बस ना हो मैमा, अभी भी आसान नहीं लगेगा तो कब लगे, बस ना, अब तो फाइनल है, फाइनल खत्म, खड़काओ. अच्छा, एंड में टुवर्ड्स द एंड ऑफ दिस क्लास आई विल आल्सो गिव यू गाइस टिप्स कि अब क्या करना चाहिए. ये ओ लेवल्स का पेपर कितना मुश्किल है, नहीं आसान होगा. अब ओ लेवल्स भी बहुत आसान आ रहे हैं, ऐसी कोई बात नहीं है. ओ लेवल आईजीसीसी बहुत इजी पीजी लेमन स्क्वीजी, सारे हलवा. अच्छा, कहते हैं table 4.1 shows the effect if any on concentration at equilibrium. Which of the following changes would be applied? Which of the following changes to the conditions are applied? Use the words increases, decreases or no change. सबसे पहले तो a catalyst is added. Sir, a catalyst does not change the equilibrium. बस हजार दफा the position of equilibrium is not changed by adding a catalyst. Catalyst only increases the rate of reaction by lowering the activation energy. So more proportion of particles have energy equal to or greater than the EA then. Yeah. अच्छा, so catalyst में कोई change नहीं होता. And I'll just use these words. कहते हैं use only these words. So increases, decreases or no change. Yeah. Sir, I don't get part D. सबर करो, ये खत्म करो, part D मैं detail में दोबारा explain कर देता हूँ. चलो, the temperature is increased. You know, बस अब तो रट जाना चाहिए कि increase in temperature favors what? Favors endo. और देखिए which is the reverse or the forward, which is reverse or forward, which is the forward reaction or the reverse reaction. The forward is exo, the reverse is endo. So which is the reverse reaction? Which is the reverse reaction or the backward reaction? तो मुझे आप बताएं which is the backward reaction. So the equilibrium position shifts to the left and therefore COCl2 की amount कम हो जाएगी. COCl2 का ही पूछा है ना. So this should decreases. अच्छा, कह रहे some CO is added. खुद सोचेगा. You're adding CO. What would the system want to do? what would the system want to do? The system will want to reduce CO. You are adding CO, system कहता है oh no bueno. The system says what? No bueno, I'm gonna oppose the change, the shortless principle. So you add CO, system says nahi nahi beta kam ho ja. Kaise kam ho ja? By shifting the equilibrium position to the right and making more of this, because when more of this is made, that means this is gonna be used up. So CO, if you added some, now the system will wanna quickly use it up to make more of this. So COCl, and therefore position of equilibrium shift to the right, COCl2 would increases, would obviously increases लिख रहा हूँ क्योंकि उसने भी S डाला हुआ है. Increase नहीं लिख रहा, increases लिख रहा हूँ. I'm just playing by the rules. I'm dancing the dance according to his rule. The pressure is increased. Now again, रट जाना चाहिए अभी तो. Increase in pressure favors, increase in P favors fewer gaseous moles or more gaseous moles. It favors fewer gaseous moles. Fewer gaseous moles. अब देखिए which are left hand side, right hand side. Which are? अब check करें. So you have gas and gas. So you have 2 moles of gas here and you only have 1 mole of gas here. So which are on the right hand side? Right hand side पे एक ही है. So the position of the equilibrium should shift to the right and therefore COCl2 should increase. Why decrease आ रहा? Right पे shift हो रहा है, COCl2 ज़्यादा बनेगा. Why would it decrease? Okay. The equation for the reaction can be represented as shown. Okay, he's given you the reaction. Chalo, good stuff. He's saying some of the table 2.4.2 shows some bond energies. Use the bond energies in table 4.2 and the value of delta H for the reaction to calculate the bond energy of C double bonded to O. This bond right here. ये मुझे नहीं पता, ये X है. It's literally making a mathematical equation. यार आतिफ ये आपको टिप्स मैं आखिर में देता हूँ, अब चिल करो, अब ये पेपर कर लो एक दफ़ा. चिल जस्ट चिल पेपर कर लो, आखिर में सब कुछ बताता हूँ ना, आखिर में बताता हूँ क्या करना चाहिए अभी. अच्छा, so it's pretty much a mathematical equation because you'll realize here the bonds are gonna form. This is bond formation. This is what here the bonds are gonna break. You know, the chemistry teacher never lies. Old bonds must be broken for new bonds to form. पुराने रिश्ते टूटने चाहिए नए रिश्तों को बनाने के लिए. So first of all, what will happen? These bonds would break. They'll have a certain energy that they're going to take in, and these bonds would form. They'll have a certain energy that they'd give out, right? So ये CCl bond बनेगा, ये CCl bond बनेगा. So I can say 2 CCl bond would form, and 1 C double bonded to O bond forms. Right here, 2 CL bond बन रही हैं. CCl bond बन रहा है और एक C double bonded to O bond बन रहा है, right? And here C triple bonded to O, this is gonna break, and here this is gonna break. 1 Cl bond breaks, right? Good stuff. Now just plug in the value. C triple bonded to O, that's given 1075, and Cl bonded to Cl, that's 240. So in total, how much energy is taken in during bond breaking? Can somebody calculate this? 1315. Awesome. That's the energy taken in during bond breaking. And how much is given out during bond formation? So 2 CCl. So 2 times 240 plus 1 times, I don't know this bond. That's 1 times X. So what do I get? 480 plus X. That's how much energy is given out during bond formation. और ये सारा, ये दोनों, you know, enthalpy change is what? Bonds broken minus bonds formed. So enthalpy change कितना है? That's already given to you. Minus 105. Bonds broken कितने हैं? 1315 minus bonds formed. मैं इसको as a whole फिलहाल consider कर रहा हूँ, right? So bonds form को मैं इधर shift करूँगा, minus 105 को इधर shift करूँगा. What do I get? Energy given out during bond formation कितनी है? How much energy is given out during bond formation? Sir, it's not ClCl. Well, what's CCl? ClCl? Oh, CCl. Sorry, 340. Oh, my bad. Chill. Cut me some slack. Okay. Chill. Just chill. Yeah. It's not ClCl. It's this right here. CCl. It's 2 times 340. Very distinction guy. And 1 times X. Thank you. So that's what? 680 plus X, right? Okay. So that's the energy given out during bond formation. Khair. So what's the overall energy given out during bond formation? कितनी आ रही है? Bond formation, I'm considering this as a whole. So bond formation में energy given out, इस minus 105 को उधर shift कर दें और इस BF को उधर shift कर दें. कितनी आ रही है? 1420. That's the energy given out during bond formation. 1420. And 1420 किसकी equal है? It's equal to 680 plus X. तो X कितना है? 1420 minus 680 केडी आ रहा है 1420 minus 680 कितना हो रहा है plus 740 so it's 740 right bond energies के साथ plus minus नहीं लगाते sir where is 680 ये 680 2 times 340 इन दोनों का सम इस कितना इन दोनों का सम जो है दैट्स इक्वल टू बॉन्ड फॉर्मेशन एनर्जी गिवन आउट ड्यूरिंग बॉन्ड फॉर्मेशन व्हिच इज 1420 अब ये ऐसे ही पूछेगा देखो हमने ये डायरेक्टली कर लिया बट ही इज गोना टेक यू स्टेप बाय स्टेप तो वो कहेगा कैलकुलेट द एनर्जी नीडेड टू ब्रेक द बॉन्ड्स ऑफ द रिएक्टेंट्स सो 1 times C triple bonded to O I'm doing it again 1 times ClCl so that's what 1075 plus 240 that's 1315 that's it 1315 Don't write plus minus with energy. Enthalpy change के साथ plus minus डालते हैं. Calculate the energy released when the bonds of carbonyl form. So what is the energy released? That's what 1420. कैसे आ रहा है? Sir, enthalpy change equals to BB minus BF. BB minus BF. So that's 105. BB मुझे पता है 1315 minus BF is कितना? I don't know how much BF is. So BF equals to 1420. That's the energy given out when these bonds formed. Right? And now, when all of these bonds form, and then what is the CO bond? So I know 1420 is equal to bond formation में कितनी energy given थी, given out थी 600 IE and X. तो 600 IE and X. This 1440 is equal to 680 plus X. So X is equal to 14B minus 680. What does that give me? Plus 720. बस 720 740 है यार क्या कर रहे हैं लेकिन प्लस नहीं डालना ना बस एनर्जी है एनर्जी का प्लस माइनस नहीं ओह सॉरी किलो जूल पर हाँ खैर प्लस जाने की ज़रूरत नहीं है एनर्जी के साथ प्लस जाने की ज़रूरत नहीं है बट इफ़ यू वांट टू राइट द प्रोसेस देखो इधर किलो जूल पर मोल दिया है तो किलो जूल पर मोल देखो इधर किलो जूल है इधर किलो जूल है किलो जूल पर मोल है फिर मैं प्लस का साइन डाल देता हूँ but it's not relevant to be honest I did not write it but if you want to write it मैं नहीं डालना दफ़ा करो even if it's किलो जूल पर मोल दफ़ा करो इसको किलो जूल पर मोल वैसे डालना नहीं चाहिए था इधर लेकिन खैर फिर ऊपर भी हर जगह किलो जूल पर मोल डालना चाहिए था लेकिन doesn't make a difference to be honest doesn't make a difference अच्छा I wish I was in IGCSE वो चिल करो यार वो लेवल्स भी आसान है complete the dot and cross diagram in figure 4.2 of a molecule of carbonyl chloride. Now see, you've never studied carbonyl chloride. Oh, carbonyl chloride, sir, ये तो पढ़ा नहीं था, out of course आ गया और नहीं, ये check करो. He's giving you the structure. इसको मैं नीचे जरा दोबारा बनाऊँ. He's literally giving you, if he is giving you the structure, it's halwa palwa. Why is it halwa palwa? Because each stick represents a pair of electron being shared. So stick represents a pair of electron, a pair, and a pair. 2 sticks, 2 pair of electrons. That's it. So pair of electron right here. Boom shakalaka, pair of electron right here, and pair of electron, and pair of electron. And now you just have to complete the outermost shells, right? So carbon was in group 4, it shared one here, and one here, and one here. So carbon ka to kaam tamam ho gaya. Then chlorine was in group 7, it shared one electron here, chlorine shared one electron here, right here. तो आपके पास जाने वाला क्लोरीन ने एक इलेक्ट्रॉन शेयर किया, बाकी कितने रह गए? It was in group 7, एक शेयर कर दिया, बाकी कितने रह गए? 6. बाकी कितने रह गए? 6. So draw it 2, 4 and 6. And then again एक शेयर कर दिया इसने, बाकी कितने रह गए? 6, 2, 4 and let's try it a little better. 2, 4 and 6. थोड़ा करीब. That's it. खैर अच्छा और ऑक्सीजन was in group 6 and it shared one here and one here. पीछे कितने रह गए? 4. So it's 1, 2 and 4. Does not make a difference कि ओ सर इसको डॉट से करें क्रॉस से करें you just need to make sure कि अच्छा इस और इसको मुख्तलिफ कर रहे हो फर्क नहीं पड़ रहा. हाय फातमो ओके डन डस्टेड खत्म फिनिश्ड हो गया फिनिश्ड. मैंगनीज अच्छा मजे की बात आपका ट्रांजिशन मेटल्स टेस्ट होगा इस दफ़ा लिख के ले लो मेरे से. ट्रांजिशन मेटल्स टेस्ट होगा, मोल्स एंड स्टोइकियोमेट्री डेफिनेटली टेस्ट हो रही है. ओ लेवल्स में तो 100% IGCSE में. ऑर्गेनिक केम इज अ मस्ट. ट्रांजिशन मेटल्स तो टेस्ट होगा. एसिड बेसिस एंड सॉल्ट्स आर गोना बी टेस्टेड. ट्रांजिशन मेटल्स आर गोना बी टेस्टेड एंड हेबर एंड कॉन्टैक्ट प्रोसेस अलॉन्ग विद इलेक्ट्रोलिसिस. ये तो मेजर चैप्टर्स हैं, ये टेस्ट होंगे ही होंगे. और इन्वायरमेंटल केमिस्ट्री हैज़ अ वेरी हाई चांस एज वेल. इन्वायरमेंटल केमिस्ट्री Manganese is the element with atomic number 25 in the periodic table, and it says calcium is the element with the atomic number 20 in the periodic table. Okay, great stuff. Now it says complete figure table 5.1 to show the number of protons, neutrons and electrons in Mn atom and calcium 2 plus ion. So protons kitne? If it has an atomic number hota kya? It refers to the total number of electrons in the nucleus of an atom, right? So it's literally the proton number. So if manganese has an atomic number 25, it must have 25 protons. If calcium is atomic number 20, and you could check it out in the periodic table, it'll have 20 protons. Protons are not gains and losts. Gains or lost, right? Now, it says electrons kitne. Now manganese is an atom. So for an atom, the number of protons and electrons are equal, and since they are opposite in charge, the charges balance each other out, and that's why an atom is obviously also neutral. So if you have 25 protons, you'll also have 25 electrons. But for calcium 2 plus ion, it's an ion, it's a charged species, it has lost electrons. How many electrons has it lost? Well, this 2 plus means that now it has 2 fewer electrons than protons. Protons B से 2 plus का मतलब है it has 2 fewer electrons than protons. So मतलब 2 electrons lose कर गए, कितने रह गए? 18वीं तरमीम 18. Now neutrons. How do you calculate neutrons? Well, बड़े छोटे नंबर को बड़े से माइनस, छोटे नंबर को बड़े से माइनस. 55 minus 25, that's what? T, and 42 minus 20, that's what? By E. And why bada minus छोटे? Because 55 is the mass number. Mass number equals the total number of protons plus neutrons. And since you have protons, that's what? 25. So 55 equals 25 plus n. इसीलिए हम कहते हैं बड़े को छोटे, छोटे को बड़े से माइनस करें. Because it's literally an equation, a mathematical equation. आगे बढ़ूं. Manganese forms several oxides. The formula of some of these oxides are shown. Okay, boom, 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 boom. Why are there multiple formulas? Why are there multiple formulas? My question to you guys, because it has variable oxidation numbers. So multiple formulas, variable oxidation states, variable oxidation number. It has ions with variable oxidation numbers, blah, blah, blah. खैर, देखते हैं अगर test करते हैं. Suggest why manganese is expected to form colored compounds. Well, it's expected to form colored compounds because it's a transition element. If you go to the element with atomic number 25 in the periodic table, it's in the D block. And D block elements are usually transition elements. So, suggest why manganese is expected to form colored compounds is because it's a transition element. It's a transition element. Sorry for my pathetic writing. यार ट्रांजिशन एलिमेंट कह दो, मेटल कह दो, डजंट मेक अ डिफरेंस. बस कह दो कुछ ना कुछ है, इतनी छोटी छोटी बातों पे ना आ जाए. बस कह दो ट्रांजिशन एलिमेंट कह दिए, मेटल कह दिए, फर्क नहीं पड़ता. स्टेट which other property of manganese is shown by the formation of several oxides. हाँ, ये तो हमने अभी कहा, because it has variable oxidation numbers. You know, so which other property can we see from these multiple formulas? That property is that it has variable oxidation numbers. Yeah. Its ions have variable oxidation number. It has variable oxidation number. It doesn't make a difference. Oxidation state कोई नहीं. For colored oxides, what do you mean for colored oxides? क्या मतलब? It's a transition element. Transition elements form colored compounds. Yeah. इसमें क्या oxidation number है? +2. इसमें क्या है वैसे? Calculate करें ना. 2 times x. मुझे पता है oxygen is -2, times it by what? Times it by 3, because you have 3 O's. So 2x minus 6 equals 0, because overall oxidation number of any compound is 0. 2x minus 6 equals 0. X is equal to +6 over 2, that's +3. तो इधर +3 है. इधर notice करें क्या होगी इधर. Oxygen's oxidation state will still be -2. Just to calculate x, you will take all of the oxidation numbers. Each oxygen is -2. In oxidation numbers, we talk individually. So इसका मतलब ये नहीं कि oxygen की oxidation state is -6 है. No, it's -2. You're just adding it up because you want to equal it to the overall thing. Can we say because it has variable oxidation, so that's why it forms colored oxides? No, it's a transition element. That's why it forms colored oxides. But that's it. Transition elements form colored oxides. And you can say that, but it's better to not. State the formula of manganese 2 oxides. 2 literally represents the oxidation number, and oxidation number is effectively the charge on the ion. So manganese will form a 2 plus ion because it has the oxidation number of plus 2, and oxygen is 2 minus. And you realize that 2 plus के लिए 2 minus काफ़ी है, the charges balance out, इसलिए MnO is the formula. Don't cross multiply. Those who cross multiply, they'll end up with Mn2O2, which is wrong. There's no such thing as cross multiplication. It's just a trick. Even if you want to apply the trick, just cut these two out. But remember, cutting these two out is illogical. It's unconceptual, unconstitutional. Cutting these two out is just stupidity, but just for your sake, just for writing the formula, you can cut it out, but realize that it'll still have a 2 plus charge and a 2 minus charge. Also has variable oxidation state as a property in chemical property. I saw in O-level marking writing physical property. O-level marking से इनको गोली मार दे, ठीक है बिलाल, मैंने जो पढ़ा है बस सही पढ़ा है, दफा कर दो, गलत लिखा हुआ था. चलो आगे बढ़ें. मैंने लाइव क्लासेस में पढ़ाई हुई है ये बात, शायद आपने मेरी लाइव क्लास नहीं ली, लेकिन फिजिकल प्रॉपर्टीज, डेंसिटी है, ये सारी चीज़ें. केमिकल प्रॉपर्टीज आर वेरिएबल ऑक्सीडेशन नंबर्स, केमिकल कंपाउंड्स, बिकॉज दे अंडरगो अ केमिकल रिएक्शन. ATP एंड MCQ मैं सब करती हूँ, हो जाएगा इंशाल्लाह, ठीक है. डिफाइन द टर्म रिड्यूसिंग एजेंट. Mn3O4 इज फाउंड इन द ओर ऑफ मैंगनीज एक्सट्रैक्टेड फ्रॉम यूजिंग एल्यूमिनियम एज द रिड्यूसिंग. अच्छा, वैसे Mn3O4 is manganese is, which is Mn, is extracted from the ore Mn3O4, and you use aluminum. Why would he have used aluminum? Why would this probably work? Why would this work? My question to you, you studied this. Oh, yeah, out of course नहीं है बेटा, क्या हो गया, दीवार पे सर मारो if you think it's out of course. अच्छा, why would you study this? ओ नहीं यार, क्या melting point इधर से किधर. Yes, Farhan, you are right. Farhan थी कि फातिमा थी, Fatima Ajmal. Fatima, you are absolutely right. Yes. Because aluminum, this is just a displacement reaction of metals. You studied this, yaar, for crying out loud. You studied this. The more reactive metal will displace the less reactive metal. Right here, from its oxide in this case. So manganese is probably less reactive than aluminum. That's why aluminum can be used to extract it. क्या हो गया यार? Define the term reducing agent. Reducing agent क्या होता है? Right? It's a substance which oxidizes itself to reduce other. औरों को reduce करता है. औरों को reduce करता है, खुद oxidize होता है. Right? So it's a chemical substance or a substance which oxidizes itself to reduce others. To reduce others, or to reduce another substance. Others, or you could say other substance. Sir, in oxidation state, I'm getting plus 2.67 for manganese. No, you're doing it wrong. Mn is what? I don't know what Mn is, but there are 3 Mns. So 3 se multiply karo. Plus O is minus 2. Times it by 4 because you have 4 O's. Yeah? And add them, equal to 0. 3x minus 8 equals 0. And okay, wait. This is Mn3O4. It's is found in the ore of manganese, right? So it's in the form of ore. इसका मतलब ये है, इसका मतलब मैं आपको बताता हूँ. You're not supposed to know this. इसका मतलब ये है कि Mn3O4 में you actually have different oxidation states. You'll also have Mn with maybe plus. You'll also have Mn with 2 plus. You'll also have Mn maybe with 3 plus. Just like in Fe3O4, but this is not in your course. So गोली मारे, yeah? दफा कर दे. So he'll never ask you to find the oxidation number of Mn in Mn3O4. Okay? Because there are multiple Mns, multiple oxidation Mns with multiple oxidation number के Mns. ठीक है? तो Mn2 plus भी हो सकता है इसमें, Mn3 plus भी हो सकता है, right? हाँ, ऐसे हो सकता है कि वो आपको एक दे दे. ये हो सकता था कि वो कहे Mn3O4 में you only have the Mn2 plus ion and you have the Mn3 plus ion. तो बताओ जी, how many Mn2 pluses and how many Mn3 pluses would you have? Now you'll realize कि oxygen क्या है? Oxygen -2 है. So total negative charge कितना हो जाएगा? -8. और -8 के लिए कितने आपके पास, कितने Mns होंगे और कितने Mn2 pluses होंगे और कितने Mn3 pluses होंगे? You'll realize you'll have, if you add a 2 here, that's 4. और ये 7 बन रहे हैं, तो ये तो ठीक नहीं है. But if I add a 2 here, then you'll see कि वो 6 plus 2 plus, so that's 8 plus here and minus 8 minus is here, right? So you'll realize कि अच्छा 2 Mn3 plus है, 1 Mn2 plus है, but that's not in your course for now, right? हाँ, ये एक MCQ में टेस्ट हुआ था. Acha. Khair, complete the symbol equation by inserting the formula of the missing product and balancing the equation. So let's just do this. So what will happen? Aluminum is going to displace Mn and it's going to form aluminum oxide. Aluminum has a charge of 3 plus, O is 2 minus, cross multiply, the dandy thing. Yeah. So Al2O3 is the formula for this right here. And अब balance करें sir, you have 3 Mns. अच्छा, मजे की बात. अब बच्चा कहता है सर ये कैसे करूँगा मैं? Sir, how in the world would I, work around this? कैसे मैं, how in the world would I work around this? Sir, इसके लिए बेहतरीन तरीका क्या है? बेहतरीन तरीका देखिए. अब सुनिएगा. मैं आपको बैलेंसिंग सिखा रहा हूँ. बैलेंसिंग सिखा रहा हूँ, सुन लो. देखो, if there are 3 MNs here, you add a 3 here. Now I'll show you what the problem is. You'll add a 3 here, then you'll say, oh, 2 aluminums हैं, तो I'll add a 2 aluminum here. लेकिन अब मसला आ रहा है, इधर मैं क्या करूँ? Oxygen तो फिर भी बैलेंस नहीं हो रहा. You have 6 oxygens on the right, but you have 4 here, तो 4 को अब मैं 6 with, तो ये बार you'll be in a loop. What you need to understand is O is causing a problem for me. O मेरे लिए मसला बना रहा है. O. अब O को मैं कैसे बैलेंस करूं? ये देखो. There are 4 O's here and 3 O's here. How do you balance 4 and 3? 4 और 3 को मैं अब इक्वल आपस में कैसे बनाऊं? LCM. You literally take an LCM. So 4 और 3 का आपस में LCM कितना आ रहा है? 12. तो क्या करूं जनाबे वाला? 12 O's. 12 O's लेफ्ट पे भी होने चाहिए, 12 O's राइट पे भी होने चाहिए. 12 on the left, 12 on the right. तो 4 को किससे मल्टीप्लाई करूं कि 12 आए? 4 को किससे मल्टीप्लाई करूं कि 12 आए? 3. And what should I multiply 3 with to get 12? What? 4. Right? 3 को मैं किससे multiply करूं कि 12 आए? 4 से. And that's it. Now it's balanced. Why? Because you have 8 Als on the right. So I'll put an 8 here. And how many Mns? You have 6 Mns on the left. So I'll put a 6 here. That's how easy it is. Sir, एक बात फिर से. बार नहीं बबलू. बार नहीं. अच्छा, again. देखो, 4 O's हैं लेफ्ट पे, 3 O's है राइट पे. You tried to do it through the conventional way. Oh, sorry, 9 Mns है. 3 times 3 is not 6, 3 times 3 is 9. My bad. 3 times 3 is not 6, it's 9. खैर, देखो बबलू सुनो, बबलू सुनो, बबलू. अच्छा, now see, when I tried to balance it normally नहीं हो रहा था, क्योंकि again I was getting in a loop. मैं बार लूप में जाता क्योंकि मैं Mn को फिर बैलेंस करता, फिर O खराब होता, फिर O बैलेंस करता, फिर Mn खराब होता, मसला आ रहा होता. तो मैं क्या करता? I'd say, hey, you have 4 O's on the left. O का मसला आ रहा है, you have 4 O's on the left and 3 O's on the right. If I take the LCM, I can make these two equal. तो 4 और 3 को कैसे equal बनाते हैं? LCM ले लेना, क्या आता है? 4, 3, 4 1s are 4, 3 as it is, 3 1s are 3. Right? So 4 times 3, that's 12. That's how you take LCMs. Basic math, elementary. Yeah. So 12 आ गए. और then you know कि 4 को किससे multiply करूँ to 12 by 3 से. 3 को किससे multiply करूँ कि 12 by 4 से. And that's how you balance it. How did we know it's Al2O3? Formula रहा है ना. Formula. Aluminum has a charge of 3 plus and O is 2 minus. Cross multiply. Al2O3. Yeah, done. आगे बढ़े यार. Time short है. The time is short. यार मुझे क्या पता कितना रह गया. MnO2 reacts with dilute hydrochloric acid as shown in the equation. Okay. सिंपल मुफ्त के मार्क्स हैं ये. IGCSE वाले बच्चे प्रैक्टिस नहीं करते ना, मुफ्त के मार्क्स है. देखो, you've been given the volume, you've been given the concentration, and how do you calculate moles? You say N equals CV, and you just make sure that this is in cm cube, you convert it into dm cube to make the units equal. N is equal to CV से moles of HCl आएंगे. That's the first step. Second step क्या है जनाबे वाला? Use the equation to find the moles of unknown, which is what? Chlorine. He wants you to find the moles of chlorine. The volume, तो moles पहले find करेंगे, right? So first step, convert into moles. N equals CV. Moles आ गए hydrochloric acid. Use the moles of hydrochloric acid to find chlorine. 4 give you 1, तो इतने आपको कितने chlorines देंगे? X और N cross multiply, you get the moles of chlorine, and since it's a gas, V is equal to N times 24. Convert it. Yeah? और centimeter cube में मांगे तो V is equal to N times 24,000. अच्छा जी, खैर, तो convert the moles, वो आपको step by step लेके जाएगा. N is equal to CV. So moles कितने? concentration निकालें 0.2 into volume कितना है? 50, but divided by 8,000. Why? Because that's in cm cube converted into dm cube by divided by 1,000. Sir, why divide by 1,000? Oh my god, 1 liter, which is 1 dm cube, equals 1,000 centimeter cube. So 50 cm cube would be x, cross multiply, x multiplied by 1,000 equal 50. X, you need x, 50 divided by 1,000. That's why I did 50 divided by 1,000. Okay, what do you get, please? Sorry for being sassy. I am sorry. यार मुझे बहुत ज़्यादा काम है, शुक्र करें मैं टाइम निकालो ये पेपर कर रहा हूँ. बी ग्रेटफुल. आई लव यू ऑल, आई लव यू ऑल. इफ यू लव मी, आई लव यू टू. सर हाउ डिड यू नो कि O का 2 है इन MN3O4? मैंने अस्यूम किया, मैंने वैसे कहा कि ऐसे टेस्टिंग नहीं हुआ, मुझे पता है कि मल्टीपल MN आयंस होंगे. Determine the number of moles of Cl2 formed. So now moles of Cl2, you know, 4 mole, use the equation, gives me 1 mole. 4 mole, 4 gives me 1. So if I have 0.01, how many would that give me? N is equal to 0.01 divided by 4. What do you get? Sir, 50 rupees inam. We are so thankful to have you. Love you. I love you too. You are so lovely. Oh, nahi. चलो आगे क्या बता 2.5 into 10 is power minus 3. तो पहले भी फिर minus 3 में कह देते, 0.0025 लिख लेता हूँ. minus 3 में लिखने फर्क नहीं पड़ता, जो मर्जी. अच्छा जी. Calculate the volume of chlorine. V is equal to N times 24 dm cube, but you want it in cm cube. So times it by 1000. वॉल्यूम निकालें. मोल्स कितने आ गए? 0.0025. These are the moles of Cl2. ये आपने जो फाइंड की ऊपर. Into 24,000 cm cube. What do we get? सट. Sure. चला हट पर. Oh sorry. 16. This was sometimes I forget I have to be a teacher. You know, I have to be on a very high pedestal. अच्छा, डिस्क्राइब टेस्ट फॉर क्लोरीन गैस. ना क्लोरीन गैस का टेस्ट देखें, जिन बच्चों ने याद नहीं किए होते ना, वो अपना गला दबा दें और वो कह दें अपने टीचर्स को, जिन टीचर्स ने भी कहा ओहो यू विल नॉट बी टेस्टेड फॉर क्वालिटेटिव एनालिसिस एंड व्हाट नॉट, सब कुछ आएगा. मैं आपको श्राप नहीं देना चाह रहा, लेकिन मेरी ये भविष्यवाणी है, मेरी ये प्रेडिक्शन है कि ये चीज़ें टेस्ट होती हैं, और मैं हमेशा कहता हूँ ये चीज़ें टेस्ट होती हैं. सो व्हाट इज़ द टेस्ट फॉर इट? यू जस्ट यूज़ ए डैम्प लिटमस पेपर. And what does it do? It bleaches it. Now there are two things. You could just use a damp litmus paper. Red ho, blue ho, the end result would be what? It would bleach it. But if you use a damp blue litmus, करेगा क्या ये damp blue को पहले red करेगा, फिर because it's also a slightly acidic. Chlorine is also slightly acidic. You'll learn that later on in A2 chemistry. But it's blue. If you take a blue litmus paper, first it'll turn it red, but because it's also a bleaching agent, it will also bleach it, right? But if you take a red litmus paper, it'll directly bleach it. तो दोनों में से आप जो करो, end result होगा bleach. तो red लो, blue लो, end result bleach. क्लोरीन गैस का कोई फ्लेम टेस्ट नहीं होता. सर आई मे नॉट, मेरे ख्याल से AS पढ़ाऊंगा, फिर देखी जाएगी यार, क्योंकि मेरे पास टाइम नहीं है. मैं आपको बता रहा हूँ, ये भी पता ही शुक्र करे, बस एक ही बैच पढ़ाऊंगा लाइव, ख़त्म. फिर AS जिनको शौक होगा मेरे से पढ़ना, 2027 तक सिलेबस सेम है, वो रिकॉर्डिंग फिर पढ़े. आप लोगों को लाइव पढ़ाऊंगा AS. AS इज़ मोर डिफिकल्ट देन A2. यस भाई, A2 AS को छोड़ दो भाई, O लेवल कर लो पहले. A2 देखी जाएगी, फिर बाद में देखेंगे. आसान है, सारे आसान है. एक्सप्लेन इन टर्म्स ऑफ कोलिजन थ्योरी व्हाई डिक्रीजिंग द टेम्परेचर डिक्रीजेस द रेट ऑफ दिस रिएक्शन. ओहो, 3 मार्क का सवाल आ रहा है. हाय 3 मार्क का. क्यों? बिकॉज आई हैव टोल्ड यू गाइस दिस. व्हाई डिक्रीजिंग द टेम्परेचर डिक्रीजेस द रेट ऑफ दिस रिएक्शन. एंड आई हैव ऑलवेज रिटन दीज 3 लाइन्स. बिकॉज व्हाट हैपेंस इज, इफ यू डिक्रीज टेम्परेचर, what would happen? There's going to be a decrease in kinetic energy of particles. And if there's decrease in kinetic energy of particles, that would mean that the frequency of collisions, and because it's such, he's given me so many lines, I can also play around with it. So decrease in kinetic energy of particles means particles move slower. I'll also talk about their movement. Particles move slower. So frequency of collisions decreases. इससे मुझे 2 मार्क्स मिल रहे हैं. लेकिन जनाब, I've also said this a gajillion times, that now because they also have less kinetic energy is half mv square ना, तो speed decrease हो गई है. But because they have less kinetic energy, you'll also say कि अच्छा kinetic energy कम हो गई, तो इनकी energy effectively कम हो गई. So now less percentage or less proportion of particles have energy equal to or greater than the EA. Yeah, have energy equal to or greater than the EA. And now what would happen to the total successful collisions? Therefore the total successful or effective collisions decreases. खत्म. और इसलिए रेट कम होता है. The structural formula of two compounds A, B are shown. Okay, A, B are, what is A? A is basically, it has a double bond, it's an alkene. Yeah, and which alkene is it? Meth at the prop. It's a propene. And is it prop 1-ene or prop 2-ene? Oh my god, how in the world is the mic being able to be unmute? How in the world can students unmute themselves? That's so crazy. Khair. So is it prop 1-ene or prop 2-ene? You realize if you want to write the naming for it, you know, is CH2 bonded to a CH, which is bonded to, oh, why am I putting it away? Which is bonded to a CH3. So you start naming from the side where the double bond is the closest. So it's carbon number 1, carbon number 2, carbon number 3. So it's what? Between 1 and 2. So it's propene. Prop means 3 carbons, right? So it's propene, but between prop and ene, we put the position of the functional group. 1 or 2 में कौन सा है? Prop 1-ene है. छोटा number लेते हैं, right? And then CH3, CH2, so start numbering from the side where the double bond is the closest. It's 1. दोनों sides से 2 और 3 के बीच में आ रहा है. So it's what? Meth eth pro but. It's butene, but remember, butene में we put the number of the carbon, the number of the double bond between right here, between these two dashes, right? So 2 और 3 में छोटा number लेते हैं. Position of the functional group. It's but2-ene. Khatam. Now A, B are of the same homologous series. Yes, both are alkenes, you dumb person. We know that. We know that. Give 2 reasons why the structural formula of A, B show that they are members of the same homologous series. Well, the structural formula has a double bond, and from this double bond I realized that they have, they are from the same group. They are from the same homologous series, not group, but they are from the, and what is a double bond? A double bond is actually a functional group. So I'll say, hey, they have the same functional group. And I also know from the structural formula, if I take their differences, they differ by CH2 unit, and they're successive. So successive units differ by CH2 units. So they differ by CH2 unit. And you could also say, if I plug them into the general formula, so you could also say, hey, they have the same general formula. जिसने ये लिखा कि ओहो फिट्स द जनरल फार्मूला ना, बस दे हैव द सेम जनरल फार्मूला, फिट्स द जनरल फार्मूला, सेम थिंग. अच्छा, जिस बच्चे ने ये लिखा ना, सर ने तो हमें बताई थी 5 बातें. ओहो, सेम फंक्शनल ग्रुप, डिफर बाय CH2, सेम जनरल फार्मूला, ओ एंड एक और बात भी पढ़ाई थी सर ने. कौन सी बात पढ़ाई थी? एक और बात भी पढ़ाई थी. कौन सी बात थी? एक और बात थी. कौन सी बात थी? हाँ, एक और बात ये थी कि ओहो, दे हैव सिमिलर केमिकल प्रॉपर्टीज, दे हैव सिमिलर केमिकल प्रॉपर्टीज, दे हैव ट्रेंड इन फिजिकल प्रॉपर्टीज. ओ यू डम पर्सन्स, इज दिस, सॉरी, यू डम्बो जम्बोज, इट्स इज वाई द स्ट्रक्चरल फॉर्मूला, इस स्ट्रक्चरल फॉर्मूला से कैडी आपको केमिकल प्रॉपर्टीज की नजर आ रही हैं. How can you see the chemical properties through the sky? You must have eyes of, I don't know, an owl or something. You must have an eyes. How can you see trend in physical properties through the structural formula? चूंकि वो बस 5 बातों का, you must have buttons. सर पंजाबी बोल दे दिखाइयां. सानू नहर वाले पुल ते पुल्ला किते खोर माही किते रह गया साडी अखां विच. Okay, explain why A and B are both hydrocarbons. Why are A and B both hydrocarbons? Because they consist of hydro का मतलब hydrogen, carbon का मतलब carbon. So they only have carbon and hydrogen atoms. They only have carbon and hydrogen atoms, nothing else. Acha, well, write the symbol equation for the complete combustion of A. So symbol equation लिखनी है. Complete combustion of A लिखे. शाबाश, pretty easy. Symbols बताए. C2CH CH3 ऐसे नहीं लिखना, formula में लिखना है. So what is this? C2 is the 3 carbon alkene. So C3 is 6 plus O2 gives me complete combustion is CO2 plus H2O. Pretty easy. How do you balance it? जितने carbons होंगे उतने carbon dioxide बनते हैं. जितने hydrogens, half of that is water. So 6 divided by 2, that's 3. Yeah, 6 divided by 2, that's 3, and then balance the O's. 3 times 2 is 6. 6 plus 3, that's 9. So 2 को किससे multiply करूँ कि 9x is equal to 9/2. You could absolutely do this. और अगर आपको 9/2 पसंद नहीं है तो आप जनाबे वाला इस पूरी चीज़ को 2 से multiply करें. बिल्कुल कोई मसला नहीं. इस पूरी चीज़ को आप 2 से multiply करना चाहते करें. Then you would get 2 this, 9 this, 6 this, and 6 this is the same thing. Achha, deduce the empirical formula of A. So what's the empirical formula? C3H6 is the simplest whole number ratio. Yes, you're right, Iman. Sir, I thought you said that the examiner didn't like fractions. Well, yes, he didn't in your case. But since he has not specified it, he's not given me dotes to plug in something, that's fine. मैं अपने से कर तो सकता हूँ ना, जो मर्जी करूँ, मल्टीप्लाई कर लो पूरे को 2 से इफ़ यू स्केट. हाँ, तो डिवाइड दिस 3 और 6, हाउ कैन इट बी फर्दर सिंप्लीफाइड? डिवाइड बाय 3, so it's 1:2, that's CH2, right? That's the empirical formula. Name compound B. It's what? It's butene. We've already named it. Sanu nero ale punate panna kitte khone mahi kitne gaya. Acha, a structural isomer of B is a member of the same homologous series. Draw the displayed formula of this structural isomer of B. Displayed formula. So B was this, B was effectively what? B ye tha. Right? It has the double bond is between second and third carbon. Just pick this double bond and place it here. So this was B, and now I just want to make the isomer of B. So I just take C, 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 and instead of having a double bond here, I'll put the double bond on the between the first and second carbon. So that's but1ene. अच्छा, आपने ऐसी sticks नहीं छोड़नी. You have to show the hydrogens. मैं sticks draw कर रहा हूँ, मेरे पास टाइम है. अच्छा, कंपाउंड बी रिएक्ट्स विद, नाउ बी क्या था? बी इज but1ene. रिमेंबर, ये आजकल आइसोमेरिज्म बहुत ज़्यादा IGCSE में स्पेसिफिकली पूछ रहा है और ओ लेवल्स में भी आ रहा है. सर बट ड्रॉ टू but2ene नहीं करना था, 2ene नहीं करना था ना. वो कह रहे हैं कि इसका एक आइसोमर है, आइसोमर ऑफ बी but2ene है, तो बी का आइसोमर क्या है? but1ene. सर ये 9/2 कैसे आया? 2 को आप किससे मल्टीप्लाई, आपको 9 ओज राइट पे हैं और इधर 2 हैं, तो 2 को किससे मल्टीप्लाई करूँ कि 9 आए? 2 इधर मल्टीप्लाई और इधर डिवाइड हो जाएगा. अच्छा, स्टेट वाई इज दिस. अच्छा, तो कह रहे बी रिएक्ट्स, अब बी की बात करें, कंपाउंड बी, आइसोमर की नहीं, बस आइसोमर आपने बना लिया. कंपाउंड बी रिएक्ट्स विद एक्वस ब्रोमीन एट रूम टेम्परेचर एंड प्रेशर. ओह, यू नो इट डीकलराइजेस इट. Aqueous bromine is orange and it will decolorize it. Now it says it forms compound C, product C, and the equation is shown. Explain why is this an addition reaction? Because only one product is formed. That's literally the definition of addition reaction. Only one product is formed. Describe the color change. What's the color change? You went from orange to colorless. Bromine Br2 liquid, Br2 aqueous is orange and goes from orange to colorless. Right? No product formed लिख सकते हैं, no by product formed. भाई एडिशन रिएक्शन की डेफिनेशन पेपर में यही दिया है कि ओनली वन प्रोडक्ट इज फॉर्म, नो बाय प्रोडक्ट इज फॉर्म. लिख लो जो मर्जी लिख लो. ब्राउन टू कलरलेस ना लिखिया करें, ऑरेंज लिखा करें, क्योंकि Br2 aqueous जो है वो ऑरेंज होता है जनाबे वाला. Br2 liquid is brown. तो if he ever uses Br2 liquid, that's brown. That's called a bromine liquid test. In O levels you mostly do bromine aqueous test. सानू नेर वाले पुलते पुलना के. अच्छा, नेम प्रोडक्ट सी. पूरी ऑर्गेनिक सिंथेसिस कराई है यार इसमें, ज़बरदस्त. अच्छा, सी क्या बोला है? अब देखिए सी को समझने के लिए बी देखो, इसलिए मैंने आपको नेमिंग पढ़ाई थी. दैट CH3CH डबल बॉन्डेड टू CH ब्ला ब्ला ब्ला. तो इसको ज़रा बना लेते हैं, but2ene को ज़रा बना लेते हैं. ये but2ene है ना? हाँ, but2ene को ज़रा बना लेते हैं. You studied this. What have you studied? You've studied that, when you reacted with Br2 or any halogen in a dark room at room temperature and pressure, what's going to happen is the double bond is going to break and the Br atoms are going to bond. The new atoms bond where the double bond breaks. So once this double bond, oh my God, once this double bond breaks, sir, oh my God, once this double bond breaks, the Br atom, now this carbon has made 3 bonds, this has made 3 bonds, so the Br atom, one will come here and one will come here. Now how do you name it? Sir, select the longest carbon chain. It's meth, eth, proper, buta. So it's butane. They're single bonds, so that's butane, right? So I'll write, okay, sir, ye butane to hai. Now you realize that on carbon number 2 and carbon number 3, you have bromine. So 2 pe or 3 pe, you have what? Bromo. Bromo and bromo. So you have 2 पे भी ब्रोमो है, 3 पे भी ब्रोमो है, and then that's butane. So butane, right? So कितने ब्रोमोस हैं? You have 2 bromos. So I'm going to say, hey, it's 2, 3 dibromo. 2 ब्रोमो हैं, 2 dibromo butane. That's the name for it. Is in the naming of ब्लोरो फ्लोरो ओ लेवल में है या नहीं है? देखो आपको क्लोरो पता है तो ब्रोमो है, फ्लोरो है. IGCSE में ऐसी चीज़ टेस्ट ओ लेवल में नहीं होगी ऐसे, प्रॉब्ली ओ लेवल में ये चीज़ शायद टेस्ट ना होगी. सो इट्स 2, 3 डाइब्रोमो ब्यूटेन. और मैंने आपको सारी, अगर आपके टीचरों ने नहीं पढ़ाई बेटा, मैंने पढ़ाई है आपको. 2 और 3 नंबर्स के बीच में कॉमा आता है, नंबर्स के बीच में कॉमा आता है, राइट? नंबर्स के बीच में कॉमा आता है और जो है लेटर और नंबर के बीच में हाइफन आता है. सो इधर मैं हाइफन भी लगा देता हूँ. नंबर्स के बीच में कॉमा और लेटर और नंबर के बीच में. सर सिर्फ डाइब्रोमो एल्केन नहीं लिख सकते, दैट्स नॉट द नेम फॉर इट. डाइब्रोमो एल्केन नहीं है, पोजीशन भी लिखनी है. 2, 3 डाइब्रोमो एल्केन विच इज़ ब्यूटेन. इट्स टेस्टेड इन ओ लेवल्स, तो बस फिर है ना, मैंने तो पढ़ाया हुआ है, बाकी टीचरों ने पढ़ाया है नहीं पढ़ाया, मर्जी वाली बात है. सो नेम प्रोडक्ट्स थी, इट्स 2 3. अच्छा और मज़े की बात है यार, अगर आपको नहीं आता ना एट दिस स्टेज इफ यू डोंट नो दिस, बख्श दें, इस एक नंबर को बख्श दें यार. मैं टीचर हूँ, मेरा तो काम है पढ़ाना, बट इस एक नंबर को बख्श दे, खुदारा बख्श दे इस नंबर को. कुछ नहीं है, मैंने डिस्टिंक्शन नहीं लेनी, मैंने स्टार लेने हैं, छोड़ दे, बख्श दे इस नंबर को. Under certain condition, 1 mole of B reacts with oxygen to form 2 moles of carboxylic acid D. Okay, sir. Oh, क्या बात है. तो B जो है वो react करते हैं. Now, is this reaction a part of your course? No, absolutely not. No. Alkenes का direct जो है कार्बोक्सिलिक एसिड बनना वो आपके कोर्स का हिस्सा नहीं है, लेकिन वह बस करा दिया तो करा दी, लेकिन इन्फॉर्मेशन तो दे रहा है. वो बता रहे कि यार 1 मोल ऑफ एल्कीन जो है वो 2 मोल ऑफ कार्बोक्सिलिक एसिड डी बनाएगा. ड्रॉ द स्ट्रक्चर ऑफ कार्बोक्सिलिक एसिड. और वो ये भी बता रहे कि कार्बोक्सिलिक एसिड डी हैज 2 कार्बन एटम्स, इसमें 2 कार्बन एटम्स है कार्बोक्सिलिक एसिड डी. तो क्या आप कार्बोक्सिलिक एसिड डी का स्ट्रक्चर नहीं बना सकते? ओह हो सर, वी हैव नॉट स्टडीड एल्कीन गोइंग इनटू कार्बोक्सिलिक एसिड. आई नो यू हैवंट, दैट्स एएस लेवल. लेकिन वो आप टेस्ट करते हैं ऐसी चीजें बाय गिविंग यू ऑल इंफॉर्मेशन जस्ट टू गेट यू कंफ्यूज्ड. वैसे यार 2 कार्बन एटम्स है कार्बोक्सिलिक एसिड डी के, तो क्या है कार्बोक्सिलिक एसिड, सो मस्ट हैव C double bonded to OH, that's it. And you know, I'll draw it from the perspective of getting a distinction maybe. Yeah, so that's 1 carbon, and then it says 2 carbon atoms, so draw the functional group and then just add a carbon and just surround it by hydrogen. So it's, yes, ethanoic acid, absolutely. Name the carboxylic acid D. It's a 2 carbon carboxylic acid. What's its name? It's ethanoic acid. Khatam. Complete the symbol equation for the reaction. Complete the symbol equation for the reaction, and that's the symbol equation. अब मजे की बात है, एल्कीन को उसने ऊपर, जो बंदा सवाल नहीं पड़ेगा वो नहीं कर पाएगा. एल्कीन गिवन है और वो कह रहा है कि सर इट 1 mole of B reacts with oxygen. तो ऑक्सीजन इज व्हाट? O2. This is how as a student I'll solve it. So reacts with O2 to give you 2 moles of ethanoic acid. तो 2 मोल बन रहे हैं, 2 moles. ethanoic acid का ऐसी, he's given me structural formula here. तो ethanoic acid का मैं लिखूंगा CH3COOH. That's it. Now there's a problem. If you go on to see the oxygens, you have 2 O's into 2. You have 4 O's on the right, but you only have 2 O's on the left. तो 2 को किससे multiply करूँ कि 4 आए, x is equal to 4 over 2. That's 2, and that's shakalaka. Boom, badastic, full marks, let's go. अच्छा जी, अब सुनिएगा, टिप्स देता जाऊँ आप लोगों को. टिप्स सुनिएगा. सुन ले. Let me just, I'll not pause the recording. Sir, why don't we show the double bond in carboxylic acid? This is a structural formula. In structural formula, you show the double bonds and triple bonds just between carbons. कार्बन के बीच में अगर डबल बॉन्ड या ट्रिपल बॉन्ड हो, जस्ट लाइक दिस, यू डोंट इवन शो सिंगल बॉन्ड्स, जस्ट लाइक दिस. इफ देयर इज अ डबल बॉन्ड बिटवीन कार्बन्स और ट्रिपल बॉन्ड और nothing else, you don't show the single bonds of carbons, you don't show the double bonds that carbon makes with oxygen and whatnot. अब सुनिएगा जी, सर ये कर्व्ड क्यों होते हैं? आप सीधा बना दें यार, कोई मसला नहीं होता. कर्व्ड गोली मारे ना, वो असल में शेप की वजह से होता है, सीधा बना लें. सर पार्ट डी, क्या पार्ट डी? कैडी यार, टिप्स सुनने हैं कि पार्ट डी देखना है, देख लो, चलो पार्ट डी देख लो. एम्पेरिकल फार्मूला ऑफ ये ऐसे आया ना, 3:6 था. क्वेश्चन 4 पार्ट डी, क्वेश्चन 4 पार्ट डी. यार बाद में रिकॉर्डिंग में देख लेना यार, मैं टिप्स दे दूँ, ये ज़्यादा ज़रूरी है. अच्छा क्वेश्चन 4 पार्ट डी, चलो ये सुन लो, ये जल्दी सुन लो यार, सुनो लो यार. देखो एंथैल्पी चेंज वो कह रहा है कि कितना है, माइनस, ये देख लीजिएगा, इट्स वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. दीज आर रिएक्टेंट्स, these are products, और चूंकि माइनस है तो I'll say hey, the overall enthalpy change is negative, so that means that energy taken in by the reactants to break the bonds is less than the energy given out. और enthalpy change क्या है? reactants to products, right? ये enthalpy change. सुनो जल्दी सुनो, ये enthalpy change है. let's suppose that's what -105 जो सवाल में दिया था. अब सुनो. now reactants to products, that's -105, it's exo. अब रिवर्स जाऊंगा, I want to go from products to reactants. if I want to go reverse, फिर ये products ना रहे, भाई ना रहा, बहन ना रही, अब ये reactants बन जाते हैं. because now I want to go into the reverse reaction. तो reverse reaction के लिए अब ये products नहीं होंगे, ये reactants कहलाएंगे और ये products कहलाएंगे. अब वही चीज़ है, how do you calculate enthalpy changes from the reactants to the products? that's the enthalpy change. तो देखो मैग्नीट्यूड सेम रहा लेकिन साइन बदल गया. मैग्नीट्यूड सेम है साइन, और EA कैसे है, फ्रॉम द रिएक्टेंस टू द टॉप, दैट्स द EA ऑफ द रिवर्स रिएक्शन. मोस्ट स्टूडेंट्स डोंट नो दिस, you should know this. And what's the EA for the forward reaction? That's from the reactants to the top. That's the EA of the reverse reaction, and that's the EA of the forward reaction. Okay sir, thank you. अच्छा जल्दी सुनो, टिप्स इधर भी रिकॉर्डिंग में भी आना चाहिए. चलो जी, टिप्स सुनिएगा. Now you only have 9 days left for your paper, right? 9 days. You now have to just stop doing yearlies. You've done this yearly with me. Probably do one yearly before the exam. One yearly right before the exam, and that's it. Don't do any more yearlies. Now what you've done is अभी तक जितनी yearlies आप लोगों ने कर ली हैं, या अगर नहीं भी की गोली मार लो, लेकिन जितनी yearlies में कर ली, जिस टॉपिक में गलती हो रही है उस टॉपिक के टॉपिकल्स पकड़ो. Even if you've not done even a single yearly, गोली मार लो. जो टॉपिक्स आप लोगों को मुश्किल लग रहे हैं उन टॉपिक्स के पहले कॉन्सेप्ट स्ट्रॉन्ग करो, जल्दी गो ओवर योर नोट्स. दिस इज द फाइनल एडवाइस दैट आई एम गोना गिव ऑल ऑफ यू. इफ यू वांट टू स्कोर एन A स्टार और अ डिस्टिंक्शन और एन A, द फाइनल एडवाइस टू यू गाइस, दिस इज व्हाट आई टेल ऑल माय स्टूडेंट्स, एंड देन आई विल गिव यू वन मोर एडवाइस बिफोर द पेपर के पेपर की रात क्या करना है. But for now, just start making short things. Okay, in states of matter, I've studied this. In atomic structure, I've studied this. Quickly revise a chapter and start doing topic-wise question. Topic, until you feel confident in that chapter. Once you are confident, खलास खत्म करो, आगे जाओ. Once you do the other chapter, खलास खत्म करो, आगे जाओ. अब अपने लिए टेबल बनाओ, सारे चैप्टर्स को आपने टच करना है. टॉपिकल्स करो, टॉपिक वाइज. डोंट से मुझे स्टेट्स ऑफ मैटर बहुत अच्छा आता है. अच्छा, और एक और बात, जिस बच्चे ने कॉन्सेप्ट्स भी नहीं रिवाइज की, कुछ भी नहीं पता, अब आप लोग एक काम करो. आप लोग क्या करो, देखो, सुनो, करा दो ईयरली. अब मिस कराओ, एक ईयरली कर लिया. यू नाउ नो हाउ द पेपर्स वर्क. यू नो कि पेपर में ये चीजें टेस्ट होंगी. टॉपिक वाइज क्वेश्चन शुरू करो टू स्ट्रेंथन ईच टॉपिक, राइट? एंड वंस यू फील कॉन्फिडेंट तो उस चैप्टर में तो डन. अब अगर आप कह रहे हैं कि सर टॉपिक मैंने 2-3 दफा टॉपिकल कर लिया, 2-3 दफा टॉपिक वाइज मैंने सवाल कर दिया, आई हैव डन 2-3 क्वेश्चंस टॉपिक वाइज, बट नाउ और आई हैव डन 10 क्वेश्चंस ऑफ स्टेट्स ऑफ मैटर टॉपिक वाइज. नाउ दे आर वेरी रिपेटिटिव. इफ दे आर वेरी रिपेटिटिव, you pick up the topic wise booklet and say, okay, if they're repetitive, I'm no longer going to write it. What I'll do is I'll look at it and I'll say, oh wait, ये चैप्टर, ये सवाल है, ओके, ओके, पीछे देखो, हाँ यही था, चलो आगे जाओ, पीछे देखो, ये था, आगे जाओ, राइट? नाउ इफ यू डोंट हैव, do a few topic wise questions with your hand. You have to do it with your hand as well. But once you say कि यार सर repetitive हो रहा है, still I would recommend just go over it on your, with your eyes. कि अच्छा, this is the question, oh, solid to liquid, it's, it's free, it's melting point is the constant process at which the solid changes state into a liquid. Freezing point is the constant temperature at which a liquid state changes state into solid. So then solve it zabani, solve it by your mouth. Just say it ताकि आप चीजों को ज्यादा से ज्यादा कवर कर लो, right? अगर ये सब कर लिए फिर ईयरली करें. हाँ, अगर सब कर लिए फिर भी टॉपिकल्स कर लो, और 1-2 ईयरली कर लो, 2-3 ईयरली कर लो, लेकिन टॉपिकल्स करते जाओ. और स्टॉप डूइंग MCQs, स्टॉप डूइंग ATP फॉर नाउ. फोकस ऑन थ्योरी, एंड देन वंस यू गिव द थ्योरी पेपर, देन जस्ट फोकस टोटली ऑन ATPs, राइट? फोकस ऑन थ्योरी. बस ये है, दिस इज माई फाइनल एडवाइस टू ऑल ऑफ यू, कि अब बस यार, अब ये सवाल पूछना बनता नहीं है कि अब ये सिर्फ ईयरली करूं या ना करूं. मैंने अपनी एडवाइस दे दी, बाकी जो मर्जी आप लोग करो. लेकिन माई एडवाइस टू ऑल ऑफ यू फॉर नाउ इज जस्ट डू अ कपल ऑफ ईयरलीज, एंड बिफोर द पेपर डू 1 ईयरली और 2 ईयरली. बेबी अगर आप अपने आप को टेस्ट करना चाहे तो 1-2 ईयरली करो, और फिर उस ईयरली में जिधर गलतियां की हैं छोड़ो, ये चीजें सब चीज नोट्स रिवाइज करो, और साथ में टॉपिक वाइज क्वेश्चंस करो. एंड इफ द टॉपिक वाइज क्वेश्चंस फील रिपेटिटिव, यू आर कंफर्टेबल, डू इट विद योर विद योर आईज एंड विद योर माउथ. से इट. एक और करनी भाई, 10 ईयरलीज कर लो बेशक. मैंने अपने एडवाइस दे दिया, मेरा ये एडवाइस है. बाकी आप अगर ईयरली कर रहे हो, जो मर्जी कर रहे हो, वो आपकी मर्जी है. दिस इज माई एडवाइस टू यू गाइज. आई विल सी यू a couple of days before your paper as well, just to give you one final tip कि अब क्या करना है. लेकिन अभी के लिए this is my advice. टॉपिक वाइज क्वेश्चंस करो. थक रहे हो तो अब जबानी करो, पकड़ो टॉपिक वाइज बुकलेट को पकड़ो और पढ़ो, पेजेस को पढ़ो. अच्छा, ये इसका जवाब, ये इसका जवाब, लेकिन 10-15 सवाल हाथ से करो. एंड देन वंस यू आर कंफर्टेबल इन ऑल चैप्टर्स, फिर बेशक ईयरलीज करते जाओ, कोई फर्क नहीं. सो नाउ दिस इज द एंड फ्रॉम माई एंड। और आपके जो ईयरली पास पेपर्स वाले बच्चे हैं, आपके मेरे साथ 3 पेपर्स रहते हैं, एक एमसीक्यू का और 2 एटीपी का। एटीपी वाले मैं 30 अप्रैल के बाद कराऊंगा और एक एमसीक्यू का रहता है वो मैं जून में कहीं कराऊंगा, ठीक है। तो सो दैट आई कैन सी यू गाइज इन जून और इन मे, ठीक है। बट दिस इज़ इट गाइज। बाकी सारी चीज़ें पोर्टल पे भी हैं, अपलोडेड हैं। आई लव यू ऑल। एमसीक्यू बिल्कुल ना करो, और एटीपी अगर आपकी बहुत वीक है तो थोड़ा थोड़ा टॉपिक वाइज एटीपी के कर लो। मेरी एटीपी वाली वीडियोस देख लो, आपकी एटीपी बिल्कुल सही। 11 पेपर मैंने किए हैं टॉपिक वाइज, बिल्कुल सही है। आई विल मिस यू टू हूर। हाउ मेनी पेपर डिड यू डू विद योर स्टूडेंट्स? आई डिड 73 पेपर्स फातिमा, आई डिड 73 पेपर्स इन टोटल, लेकिन 3 रह गए तो 70 पेपर्स। सर यूट्यूब पर एटीपी है? नहीं। वेबसाइट फॉर टॉपिकल्स? यार मुझे नहीं पता, मैमा बाज़ार से ले लो अभी, मुझे नहीं पता, बाज़ार से पकड़ लो अभी किसी। सर पोर्टल नहीं है सर। फातिमा आई कैन डू एनीथिंग अबाउट इट किडो नाउ। सर सो स्केट फॉर एटीपी रिलाइंग ऑन योर वीडियोस प्लीज प्ले। ट्रस्ट मी द वीडियोस विल डू इट्स जॉब। बस वो टॉपिक वाइज वीडियोस देखो और प्रैक्टिस करो। एटीपी का पेपर बहुत आसान है, बस प्रैक्टिस करो। एटीपी के लिए प्रैक्टिस 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 एंड फिक्स योर गेस्ट टॉपिक्स मैंने एटीपी के अपलोड कर दिए, वो फिक्स कर लो और प्रैक्टिस कर लो, काफ़ी है। इसके अलावा एटीपी में कुछ भी नहीं आता, 4-5 तो सवाल होते हैं। जी पास्ट पेपर वाले पोर्टल पे है। आई विल बी बैक, जान नहीं छोड़नी। सर हाउ मच इज़ योर क्रैश कोर्स टॉपिकल? फुलन यू नीड टू आस्क दिस फ्रॉम मिस नूर। मिस नूर से पूछ लें तो मिस नूर आपको गाइड कर देंगे। आई डोंट हैव एटीपी ईयरली, डू आई डू टॉपिकल्स? इफ़ टॉपिकल्स देन विच टॉपिक डू आई फोकस ऑन? नहीं, एटीपी के तो 4 ही सवाल हैं, टॉपिकल्स इसमें क्या है, 4 सवाल हैं। मैंने 11 टॉपिकल्स किए हुए हैं, वो कर लो और फिर ईयरली कर लो। रायना आपके पास तो मेरी पूरा पोर्टल है ना, तो वो टॉपिक आपने मतलब पोर्टल में कवरेज ही नहीं की, तो अब मैं इसमें कुछ कह तो नहीं सकता। लेकिन वो 11 पेपर सॉल्व करो और ईयरली देख लो एटीपीज़ और खड़का दो पेपर को, इंशाल्लाह खड़केगा, ठीक है। वो 11 पेपर्स आपने ज़रूर करने हैं, वो टॉपिक वाइज जो मैंने अरेंज किए हैं वो बहुत ज़रूरी हैं एटीपी के लिए। लकी टू बी अ पार्ट ऑफ योर पीपी सेशन, 3 more classes। यस हूर, इंशाल्लाह। स्टार्ट एटीपी इन 5 minutes। चलो गाइज, आई लव यू ऑल, सी यू ऑल, इंशाल्लाह। गपशप लगती है, बट आई गिव यू माई फाइनल एडवाइस। मेरी फाइनल एडवाइस यही थी, टॉपिक वाइज करो क्वेश्चंस, और ईयरली अगर फिर भी करने 1-2 कर लो। व्हाट इफ आई साइन विद योर नेम, देन विल दे गिव मी योर ग्रेड? प्रोबेबली नॉट। चलो गाइज, लव यू ऑल, दुआओं में याद रखिएगा, और मेरी कोई ज़रूरत हो, आई एम ऑलवेज देयर। डिस्कशन फॉर्म्स आर ओपन, फ्री डिस्कशन फॉर्म्स खुले हुए हैं। मुझे टैग करें, अगर सही समझ नहीं आ रही मुझे टैग करें, मैं आप लोगों को वॉइस मैसेजेस भेजूंगा। बस दुआओं में याद रखिएगा और खुश रहेगा। अल्लाह सबको खुश रखे, अपने खर्चे पे ख्याल रखिएगा अपना। अल्लाह हाफिज़, बाय बाय, चाओ। सर कह रहे हैं पोस्ट दिस, अल्लाह सबको खुश रखे अपने खर्चे पे। कर लो यार पोस्ट, एक दफ़ा फिर बोलूँ? अच्छा, अल्लाह सबको खुश रखे अपने खर्चे पे, एक दफ़ा फिर, अल्लाह सबको खुश रखे अपने खर्चे पे। चलो गाइज, लव यू ऑल, सी यू ऑल, इट्स बिन अ प्लेजर टीचिंग यू ऑल, एंड आई विल सैक्रिफाइस माई लाइफ फॉर यू सर। थैंक यू, चाओ चाओ, बाय बाय, चाओ चाओ। सर कैन वी हैव लास्ट डे काम डाउन क्लास? यस शामीन, विल हैव दैट। आजकल बच्चे थोड़े से घबराते हैं, तो विल हैव दैट। हाँ।